Welcome students. So yes, today we are going to start with Django, and Django is a framework. Now before we understand about the framework, let us talk about Django. Django is a framework that is used worldwide for web applications. And when I say web applications, it is basically, it's an application that is online. So yes, it is an online application, and Django is basically used for web application for the web development. So you can develop simple websites using Django, as well as you can develop some complex applications also. That is a web application. So if you are good at Django, you have a good scope in the market because a lot of top IT companies, they use Django. So you have a lot of scope if you're good at it. Okay. So before we start understanding the framework, we are going to understand two things, and that is you need to have two things installed in your system. The first is you need to install the Python interpreter. Now this is the same interpreter that we have already installed. That is, we go to the website, that is python.org, and then we download the interpreter. Now that's the step one. But when you are doing this step, if you have already installed it, so I would suggest you uninstall it and install it once again, because while installing the interpreter, you will come across this particular screen. And normally what you do is just click on install now, and it quickly will install that interpreter onto your computer. But now what you need to do is when you install it, make sure you check this box, that is add Python 3.8 to path, and this is very important. Now if you do not really want to uninstall your Python and you still want to work, then what you need to do is, I'm going to show you the harder way. Right now I told you the simpler way of doing it. So you need to go to the search over here, and you need to type variables. Okay, and it will show you the link that is edit the system environment variables. Click on that, and the window will be in front of you, a small window, and from here you're going to click on the environment variables, and from here, that is the path, double click onto that, and these are the paths that are already been set. Now I have set the Python path, so this is, you can see there are two things that you need to have, that is C:/user/ your name. This is what is going to be, most probably you're going to have your name, then the app data /local /program /python /python 3.8, so basically this is 3.8 basically, and /scripts. So that's the two paths that you need to have in this environment variable. First one is still the Python 3.8, and the next is Python 3.8 /scripts / okay. Now this you can do it manually if you do not really want to uninstall it. How to do that? Click on new, and then there will be a new edit thing that will come in front of you. Just type your path exactly what I have shown you, but you need to understand this user, under the user what name you have, otherwise it is going to be the same, the rest of the path. Okay, now what you can do is, you can always go to that particular path, or you can simply type Python and give a right click, go to the file location, and this is straight away going to bring you the location, but this is a different location. Make sure that, okay, this is not the location that we are looking for. It is C:/user j and till the app data. So click on app data. From here you need to go to the local. Okay, from local, then there is a folder called as programs, and then there is a folder called as Python, and now you can see this is the folder that we are concerned with, not with this one basically, because when you click on this, there is a python.exe file over here. Okay, so this is the path that we are concerned with. Okay, so you can simply copy it from here, and then you can paste it, edit, click on new, and then paste it out here if you really don't want to uninstall it. Otherwise, What you can do is uninstall Python, reinstall it, and this time when you're installing it, just check this box. Once you check this box, that environment variable will be automatically set. You do not need to do anything. Okay, so that's a very simple way to do it. So that's the first step. Okay, and the next step is, after installing the Python interpreter, we need to install Pycharm. Now, what exactly is a Pycharm? Pycharm is basically an interpreter. Sorry, it's an IDE, and it's not like we need a Pycharm for Django, but it is a IDE that is, it's well suited for web development. So if you really want to develop an application, a web application using Django, then Pycharm is a very good IDE, and I myself have worked with Pycharm. It is really a charm to work with. It is really a charm to work with. It is going to organize your work pretty nicely. So Pycharm is an IDE. Though it is not a must, you can anyway work with Spider, and still you can work with Django, absolutely not an issue. But I'm going to go ahead and going to install Pycharm. So the first thing that I made clear is about the Python interpreter, and make sure you set your environment variable. That is very much important. Next is about installing the Pycharm. So for that you need to go to the website, just type Pycharm Community Edition. Okay, and this is the community edition is basically absolutely free of cost to you. There is one more edition, that is a professional edition, which is chargeable, but community edition is free of cost. So you're going to have some link, you're going to get some link like so. Click on that link and a download page will be in front of you. Okay, and you're going to have two options, that is professional and the community. So please click on the community download, and it is going to be a setup file around 250 MB. After you download it, double click onto it and just click on next, and it is going to install Pycharm onto your system. Now that has been said, next steps are something that is very crucial. Okay, so now that we have gone through the two steps, now let us switch to Pycharm. Okay, so I'm going to switch to Pycharm. So once you open Pycharm, you can simply type Pycharm in the search box, and it is going to show you the link if that icon does not appear on your desktop. So Pycharm Community Edition, click on that, and the moment you click on that, this is a project that I've been working on, so it is showing it to me. Otherwise you'll come across a small window like this. Okay, and then we need to give a name to our project. So let us give a name. So I'm going to give a name like test. Okay, then now this is very important. By default, maybe you will find that existing interpreter will be selected. If it is selected, you select the new environment using the virtual env. This is very important, because this is going to create a virtual environment for you. And what exactly is a virtual environment? Virtual environment is basically a place where you're going to install all your dependencies, all your packages, and you're going to work in that environment for your software development. Okay, so basically it's a place where you install all your packages, and this we do it because maybe you have developed a web application using some standard editions, and then in future you want to develop some other project with the latest edition. So there is going to be a problem, because once you download the latest edition, that is going to affect your old projects as well, and you do not really want to do that. And that is why we create a virtual environment where you install all your packages, all your editions out there, and then for the other project you create another package, another environment, and you install all your dependencies, all your packages in that environment and with that editions. Okay, Now, virtual environment is something that you need to create it manually by going to the command prompt. That is, you need to type cmd, go to the command prompt, and then there are few commands that you need to give for creating this environment. But since we are working with Pycharm, so the first work it is going to do for us is creating the virtual environment for us without much of the effort. So I just need to select this, and then very important is the base interpreter. Now once you start Pycharm, this is going to be empty, base interpreter. If it is not empty, by default it got selected, it's well and good. If it is empty, then you need to give the Python interpreter over here. And how we are going to give, you can see this is the same path that I have shown you over here, that is the environment variables. Okay, that's the same path. Okay, and the same folder, you can see that's the same path. So just simply copy this. Okay, and then you need to paste it out here, that is out here, and then python.exe, that's it. Okay, so this is going to set your interpreter to Pycharm. So Pycharm will basically require your Python interpreter. Pycharm itself doesn't have the interpreter. Okay, so these are the very crucial, basically, is creating the virtual environment and setting up your interpreter. And then what you need to do is click on create, and this is going to create a virtual environment with the name test. And then it will take some time to open. Let us wait for a few moments, because it is creating the virtual environment, and then we can work with our project. As it is saying, creating the virtual environment for us. So Django is basically a framework. Okay, and what is a framework? Let us discuss that. So this step I told you. So what is a framework? So framework is basically itself is an application, okay, which helps in fast and reusable software development process. And it is going to have a huge set of libraries. So basically a framework will have a huge set of libraries, and using a framework you can speed up your development process. And that is why people use framework, because a lot of things are ready-made for you. Okay, so when you're developing a software, you do not really get into scratch process. You just have to focus on the core thing of your software, and the rest of the things with the framework takes care of. And this is what I understand about the framework, because I've been working with the framework. So this is what I have understood till now. So basically it will have a huge set of libraries, and it is going to make your work really easy, speed up the process, and a lot of things it is going to do for you. It is also generates the code for you in a way. Okay, so there are a lot of things involved into a framework. So Django is a framework which is used for the web development using Python. So Python is the language for Django. So it is developed in Python basically. So that is about the framework. And then let us check our application. Okay, now it has started. It has now created a virtual environment, that is test. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on file, go to settings, and few things I'm going to set in my Pycharm. That is the font size, because the font size is really small. So settings, appearance, and then the font size I'm going to make this as, okay, this is really hanging a bit. Let me just check this. Okay, let me come to the editor and the font. I hope this is editable. Okay, so this is 20, which is okay. So you're going to see the code. Okay, I'm going to make this as 22, more bigger. Okay, and this thing is not editable, but this should be basically font and appearance. Huh. Okay, no, it's not editable, but I don't know why it is so. Now it is editable. Okay, so I'm going to make this as 20. I need to check this. Then click on apply and click on OK. So now these are the, I think it is pretty clear to you now. You can see everything. Okay, so the two things that I did is for the editor, that is for the code, and next was the first one was for the appearance. So even the menus are bigger to you now. Okay, then now the next step, what we need to do is go to the terminal. Okay, at the bottom you can see there is a terminal, and test is the environment that we just created. Okay, now comes the first thing is installing Django. How you're going to install it? Give the command pip install d, that is a Django. That's it, and press enter. So that's the command pip install Django. And even this is going to take a bit of time for the installation process. Okay, this really, this, the way it gets installed gives me the, reminds me of any of the Hollywood science fiction movie, isn't it? This is how it looks like. So this is going to take a bit of time, and you need to keep a lot of patience when you work with frameworks, basically, at least for the installation process. Once everything is set up, then it goes really smooth. And then we are going to understand about what is a framework, and then we are going to understand about what is manage.py, and one by one, init.py, settings.py, urls.py. These are very important Python files that we're going to talk about. Let me just check if it is done or not. Okay, it is still installing. Okay, so let us just discuss these files then in that, before it gets installed. So manage.py, I don't know why this file came first. Anyway, so these are some of the files, Python files, manage.py, and it is associated with Django. So basically this file contains the code for starting the server, migrating and controlling the project using command line. Okay, so using the command line we are going to start the server, and it is used for migrating. Now this is something you're not going to understand right now when even if I tell you something about migrating. So basically it's going to migrate our models to the database. Okay, that's the only thing I can tell you right now, but once we start working it, then you're going to understand it. So that is manage.py. Then we have init.py. Now this is, I guess you might be aware of this, any package. Okay, if it is a package, then that particular package will have this file, that is init.py. This package or this file may be an empty file. It can be an empty file, or there might be some code, but most probably it is an empty file, but it is just an indication to Python that this is a package. That particular folder is a package. Okay, remember that. Then we are going to work with settings.py. In just few moments I'm going to tell you what exactly is this. Settings.py is the main file where we will be adding all our applications. Okay, so the file contains the installed all other applications and dependencies, basically. Now let me just check whether it is done or not. Okay, it has been successfully installed. Okay, so now Django has installed successfully, and then we can discuss about the files later on. Let us just go through the practical thing. Now what we need to do is we need to start a project. Okay, this was test is just an environment that we created, understand it. Now we will start a project. How to start a project is you're going to give a command that is Django hyphen admin space and start project. That's the command, and the two words are together, there is no space. And then I need to give some name, so I'm going to give a name something like sunbeam. Let us give the word sunbeam. Okay, and then give a space and give a dot. Now this is very important, otherwise it is going to create two folders, but I just want one folder of sunbeam. If I don't give this dot, it gives two folders and that creates a lot of confusion. So I'm just going to give one folder. I just need a one folder that is sunbeam. So sunbeam space dot. Okay, that is very important. Click on next. Just press enter. So this is going to start the project. Now we have started the project, and now what will I do is I can start the server as well using the manage.py. Remember I told you that this manage.py, it is used for starting the server. So what I'm going to do is using Python manage.py, Python space manage.py, and I can say run server. Okay, and this basically is going to start the server. And when I say server, is basically this is the server address. This is a kind of starting development server at so and so location. So if I click onto this, it is going to open in the browser, and this is the screen that you're going to come across. So this says that everything went smooth and nice, the installed worked successfully, congratulations, right? So this is the first output that you got from Django. Okay, now we need to do a lot of other work, that is switch back to Django, and this has simply started the server. So now we are not going to do anything over here. Okay, you can see there is no command line because the server is on. Now what you need to do is there is a plus sign, just open one more window, and now we are going to work over here. We are going to give our commands from here now. Okay, so there is one more, there is already a server that is on, and there is a local 2. From here I'm going to give my commands now. Now I'm going to start my application. Okay, I'm going to register my app. Now this particular project can have multiple apps. Right now I'm going to register one app. Okay, so I'm going to say Python manage, and you can see that again we are using that manage.py. So manage.py is going to help us to start the server, to register the app. Okay, I'm going to say start, and this time app, that is app. Okay, start app, and I can give a name to the app, that is student. Okay, press enter. So this is going to create an app, and your projects can have multiple apps. So this is going to create the app, that is student, a web app. Okay, now what we need to do is you need to just bring this down, and now you can open your folder, that is test, that is the virtual environment. Now under this virtual environment you can see two folders, that is the Sunbeam folder, which is the name of your project. Okay, and there is a student folder, which is the name of your application, that is app. Okay, name of your app, and Sunbeam is the name of your project. Okay, do not get confused. Sunbeam is the name of your project, student is the name of the app. If you open this Sunbeam, you will see some files, that is init.py, asgi.py, settings.py. I was just talking about settings.py. It is used to install all the, or you need to just list all your apps in this particular file. Then urls.py, and that is WSGI, that is a web server gateway interface. So these are, I have this everything over here, like what all the file means, that is okay. So we're not going to go in detail. As we move further with the application, I'm going to explain you everything. Okay, do not worry. So because if I just keep on reading everything, it will be pretty boring for you. So let us make this pretty interesting. So okay, let me close this, and okay, so this is what I have till now. So this is the project, and this is the app. These are the files, and you can see that is the init, which indicates that this is a package, and the same file we have it in student also. Even this is a package. Okay, so we are concerned about, in the project we are concerned about the settings.py and the urls.py. We are going to work with these two files, and under students we are going to work with we have something called as apps.py. Now do not get confused, under this app we have a file that is apps.py. okay, so do not focus anything right now. What we're going to do is we're going to work with the views. Okay, so the next step that I need to do is I'm going to open this views.py, and whatever code we have, just delete that, and then I'm going to import Django.http. okay, I should say rather from Django.http import http response. Can you see this? Okay, so that is the module that we need to have, and then you need to give two spaces, otherwise Django shows you a warning. So it expects you, after a block code you should give two spaces, but it is not really a must. It is not going to throw an error, do not worry. Okay, and then what I need to do is I'm going to define a function called as index, and it is going to have a parameter that is a request, and over here I'm going to say return http response. That's the module, that's the method. Okay, I'm going to say hello world. That's the first step, and simply a message hello world, that's it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, this is simply a method. Then under the app, that is the student tab, give a right click and go to new and go to a Python file and name this file as urls. Okay, that is the uniform resource locators. So urls, press enter. So this is going to create a one more file, that is urls. Okay, and then you need to import few modules, that is from the Django.urls and import path. Okay, and then what you need to do is from dot, it's very important, dot means the current folder, dot import the views. From dot, okay, from dot import views. This is how you need to do. Okay, don't give a space out here, and then you need to have a list with the same name, that is url patterns, and your name should be same. Okay, open a list. Under this list I'm going to provide the path, that is a empty string comma and then views dot index. And when I say views dot index, okay, do not provide that opening closing bracket, because we are just going to pass the reference of index from here. Okay, so this is what we have till now. I went to views first, I typed this code, then I created a file under the student, that is the app, using this option. name of the file was urls, you have to give the same name, and then under the urls.py I have this pattern, which basically means if the user does not gives a request, basically like something like /student. Okay, so what is this? This is a URL, isn't it? And that is a request which will be sent to the server. Okay, this is what it means. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this empty, views.index, and then I'm going to have set that student/student. I'm going to set that, okay, in a moment. And then what I need to do is go to the folder, the project, that is Sunbeam project. Okay, and under that we have settings. Remember I told you we're going to work with settings. Under settings, these are the installed apps. Okay, and you created an app. What was the name of the app? Student. So simply specify the name of the app, that is student. That's it. So you need to have your app register out here. Okay, so close this now. Next is you need to go under the project, that is Sunbeam. There is also a file urls.py. This is under the project. Okay, under the project we created ourselves a urls file under the student, but there is already a file that is urls.py under the project. Double click onto that and you will come across this file, this particular code, and there is a plus sign out here. You need to expand it and you can see that import files. Okay, now Django.url, that's the same thing that we also did, but I need one more, that is include function. Okay, include. And then what I need to do is just copy this and keep this as it is, do not delete this, paste it, and over here I'm going to say something like student. So if the user gives the request like /student, so I'm going to have something on my screen. So this is basically a request which will be sent to the server, and the server is going to handle the request. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is, first thing I'm going to do is from student, okay, import the urls. Okay, from student, that was the name of the app, and over here I'm going to say include. So that's the reason I had that function. I'm going to say urls. Okay, and now let us run this code on the browser. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say that's the address, the local address /student, and I am going to press enter. The moment I press enter, you can see the hello world in front of you. And how did we got that? Is because this was a request that was sent to the server, and the request basically comes to the through the URL, basically, that is this one. Okay, that request is handled over here, and from here basically I'm referring to this particular file, and from here it is going to the views, that is out here to index, and over here I'm saying hello world. So this gets printed onto the screen. Now I understand that it is a bit complex for you to understand things at this moment, so I'm going to I'm not going to move further right now. So please go ahead, install as what I've shown you, and try to do what I did. Okay, in the next class then we are going to move further with this particular topic. It's very interesting, by the way. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye for now.